The next sword is 102 centimeters in length and weighs 860 grams. The yellow ruby decorated pommel is inclined to one side. Another sword belonging to one of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad. This sword is 102 centimeters in length and weighs 1 kilogram, 223 grams. The blade is pointed and grooved in the middle. There are gold and silver inlaid dragon figures near the hilt. The sword of Amr bin Yasir is 98 centimeters in length and weighs 974 grams. The hilt is covered with leather. The crossguard and the pommel are flower relieved and decorated with gold gilded silver. The blade is thin, flat, and there is a silver dot on it, together with inscriptions. He was one of the first people that accepted Islam, together with his father and mother when he was the 30th Muslim. The sword of Ja'fari Tayyar. This sword is 140 centimeters in length and weighs 2 kilograms, 854 grams. The hilt is covered with black leather, the pommel is silver, and there is an inscription on the blade. Near the hilt, there is a gold and silver inlaid picture depicting the battle between a dragon and a phoenix. Ja'fari Tayyar. This hero of Islam was heralded by the Prophet Muhammad. He said, "I saw Ja'far in the heaven with 2 wings of which the tips are painted with blood." The sword of Khalid bin Walid. This sword is 91 centimeters in length and weighs 772 grams. The wooden hilt is covered with red velvet, the pommel is oval, and the upper part is oblique. The turquoise and ruby inlaid pommel, side plate, and crossguard are silver gilded and decorated with floral designs. Near the hilt, Haza Saifi Khalid bin Walid is written. Khalid bin Walid. The famous Muslim commander was known also as Sword of God. He fought at the same front with the Qurayshis against the Muslims until accepting Islam after the Hudaybiyah agreement. He then fought for Islamic State and died in 642. (370) 1. Throughout history, most changes were made here. This section was assigned to the page boys who were in the Sultan's private service and trained as future statesmen. In the late 18th century and early 19th century, the Chamber of Sacred Relics was renamed the Decimal Chamber, because the handkerchiefs called decimal, which were given as a gift to the guests invited to visit the mantle of the Prophet, are prepared and maintained in this chamber. David is another prophet mentioned in the Holy Quran. David, after killing Goliath, obtained power and became king. Psalter was sent to the prophet David, and he was thought to soften iron to produce armor. He converted Jerusalem into the capital city and centralized political power. The prophet David, who developed the military organization, is considered the first person in the history of the Israelis who served as both a prophet and a king at the same time. The sword of the prophet David is on display in front of the photo of David's tower. The sword is 101 centimeters in length. It has a leather hilt, silver pommel, and iron crossguard. It weighs 2.986 kilograms. It has a wide straight blade which is pointed at the end, and near the crossguard is an engraved image of a man holding a human head in one hand and a sword in the other, symbolizing the story of the prophet David and Goliath. Another object in the exhibition is this copper plate. There is an inscription in Arabic and Nabatean on this plate, which was brought with the prophet David's sword from Egypt, describing how David slew Goliath with the sword. There are 33 lines on the plate, and the inscription describes how David slew Goliath with a sword, how the weapon was passed down first to Joseph and then to Aaron. The sword was inherited by various kings, and it finally ended up in the treasury of Muqawqis, the ruler of Egypt. The most interesting aspect of the plate is that some future events are described in the inscription. The text in the inscription on the plate not only forecasts the Ottoman conquest of Egypt, but also predicts that the sword of David would pass into the hands of the Ottomans. And also, it is predicted that this sword would pass into the hands of Jesus and the Messiah at the end of time. And the sword will pass to Mahdi, then the sword will reach Jesus. He will kill the one-eyed hypocrite Ibn Siyat Dajjal, the Antichrist. God grant them both faith. The staff of Moses in this window is displayed in front of a photo of Mount Zion, which is considered holy by the Jews. The staff was a gift to Moses by the prophet Jethro, his father-in-law. The wooden staff is 122 centimeters in length and has a snag on the upper part. In Jewish, Christian, and Islamic sources, the prophet Moses is mentioned as the prophet who saved the Israelis from the cruelty of the Pharaoh. He is one of the prophets frequently mentioned in the Holy Quran. In order to make the Israelis and the Pharaoh believe him, he was granted the miracles of the staff and the white hand. The prophet Moses displayed 2 miracles with this staff. In the first miracle, the staff transformed into a dragon against the magicians of the Pharaoh and destroyed their magic. In the second miracle, he divided the Red Sea into 2 parts to